going back to logic games, it feels really good to see what clicks already and what I haven't had an issue with, and then also seeing like the little things I could really emphasize more. But I did write a list just in case of certain questions I had. Well, I still have you here that I could kind of go through.
Yeah, sure. Feel free to fire away.
Yeah, so prior to this, my biggest concern has always been speeding, like the speed of the test. I've gone in through each question and really felt comfortable with those. And then whenever I moved further, and not now, because I'm still going to the day by day for 4 months, but prior to that, I had always felt uncomfortable with the speed because I felt like if I didn't have the speed, I could totally feel comfortable answering the questions, and I feel like a lot of people see that as well. And I know speed kind of comes with the accuracy of it's each step along the way. So I feel comfortable with that. It's just, yeah, if you could possibly help me in terms of speed, if that is the case, if I should just keep on going, just logic game to logic game, or maybe incorporate timing into my logic games, or maybe that's too soon to do that. I guess in the back of my head is always the concern of like, I hope this is helping me with speed once I come to like doing time sections.
Every improvement in your understanding helps with your speed. Speed, as you said, comes with accuracy. It comes with deeply understanding the questions. So speed for, accuracy first, deep understanding first, deep review. Then you add in individual timed sections to help you work on your pacing. Then finally you bring it to full length timed exams. But if you're just starting off and you're getting the basics of logic games, then I would start untimed. So let me ask you this with regard to where you're at. Are you working through the beginning of the schedule, building the foundation? Is that where you are?
Yeah, so I've already gone through, so in my schedule, I'm on week 3 and I'm going into grouping logic games. But prior to that, I've always felt really comfortable with sequencing. That's always kind of like everyone's kind of bread and butter, I think, whenever you start the LSAT. So I felt really comfortable answering those questions that kind of were assigned. So those games I felt very comfortable with. I could like fly by through those. And then even checking the answers and making sure that my mindset was kind of the same way of explanations were. Just to make sure it wasn't like a fluke that I was coming to this answer. I knew which ones were wrong and why they were wrong. And that's coming quicker, and I feel that speed. So I feel good with that. As far as grouping, I've found that that's kind of where like I can see that I had an understanding of it, but not a real fully immersed understanding. Like certain games I could feel really comfortable with, but if they moved certain variables around that made it seem unfamiliar to me, then it was really hard for me to acknowledge that, oh, this is a grouping game now. So I'm seeing like the finer pieces of that. So I'm really trying to catch my errors, I'm hoping that's the best method for that as well.
That sounds good to me. It sounds like there's still work to do in games to be done untimed to build that foundation. So keep doing that and trust the process. And within a week or so, you'll be through the end of the foundational portion, and then you'll start doing timed sections. So it'll be here before you know it.
Okay. And I think that's the thing too, because I have had this process of learning the LSAT. So I've used different preps before. So everyone has their own foundations. And I really like your method of kind of like trying to figure out what works for you, and then using that to your best method. So I'm really trying to do that as well. But I think that's also where it kind of conflicts, where I know different methods, and I'm like trying to narrow down which one works the quickest and best for me. But I have found that I am seeing like letters and names as variables now, and very quickly to do a sketch of how that goes. So I'm really just trying to conquer the logic games right now. Prior to that, I've noticed that or at least prior to the day-to-day 4 months, I know that I've felt comfortable with logic games, and I've felt comfortable with logical reasoning. My biggest concern has always been reading comp, and I think that goes more for timing, like a lot of people might have. And I know that's down the road with with as far as the day-to-day goes. So I guess I'm always just kind of thinking of what I've had issues with before and preparing for that to come, and how to conquer that as well. Let's see what else I had as a question. Yeah, so when should I be incorporating timing into logic games? Should I be waiting until after I go through all the foundations of each?
Yeah, so the way the study
Section?
plan plan works is that you build that foundation, you do work untimed, then you introduce pacing with individual sections. So once you've gone through each of the types of logic games untimed to do them by type, once you pull that all together and you've completed that portion, then immediately I'll have you doing timed sections as you're building the foundation in logical reasoning. So if you're already in grouping games, you're probably just a week or two away from introducing timed sections there. So it'll be there pretty soon.
Awesome. Let's see. Yeah, and then going through that, I know that different sections are going to come up. How do I stay confident in my skills in, say, logic games as I move to logical reasoning, and then to reading comp? I'm sure maybe the study schedule says more in detail, but like, how do I stay consistent in all those realms without feeling like maybe once I go into logical reasoning, I'll start forgetting a little bit more of selection games, and I guess there's more of a concern there that I might kind of drop.
I hear that. I hear that. Yeah, it's a common concern. And the thing is that the way you avoid getting rusty is by continuing to cycle it in and not letting any long period go by without touching a certain section type. So the way I avoid this in my study plans is I have you constantly mixing in the sections you've focused on previously. So once you move into the logical reasoning portion of the schedule, you're focusing on logical reasoning, but not exclusively doing logical reasoning. So you still have logic games from the prior weeks being mixed back in. So I'll have you doing a timed games section or two, even during a logical reasoning focused week, because you have already built the foundation in games. Now let's work on timed games, even while you're doing untimed logical reasoning. And then once you move into untimed reading comp to build the foundation there, you're still mixing in timed games and timed reasoning as well. So you're never letting too long go by. Okay,
great. And the other thing too is that, I mentioned before, but my schedule is really wide open, and I do, and I have been just doing the day by day in the schedule, which kind of adds up to about like 4 hours each morning. But since I do have a lot more time, and I could kind of make this more into a full-time study session, what would you recommend for if I'm trying to get like the best score possible? How many hours should I be, if I have this amount of time, taking towards studying per day or like per week? What would be a good round for that?
You could probably do as much as 5 to 6 hours per day of focused studying without burning out. Of course, different people are different. Some can handle more than others. But if your schedules and days is fairly open, then I think it's good to do 5 to 6 hours a day if possible, meaning 2.5 hours before lunch, 2.5 hours after lunch, and then you're done. That could be it, with breaks within that 2.5 hour period, of course. That could be one way to do it, and that still allows you to maintain healthy balance with life, sleep, diet, exercise, relaxation, all of that.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think there's always like this, like after I study, there's always this guilt of like, maybe I should be doing more. Maybe there's another way I could do more of this. So it's good to hear like a good mix of certain hours that would be a good area to focus on.
There is one more thing I want to add on this, which is that my study plans are built on the assumption that you're studying part-time, not full-time, because many people do have work and school and other obligations and such. And so what I would suggest for you then is that you take the schedule more as, for the level of specificity it contains about what to do, than the particular day-by-day breakdown. So you can work ahead and build a buffer for later, where towards the end, maybe you'll do more full-length timed exams than what I suggest. And an alternative would be that I send you a longer plan. So let's say, which plan are you on right now?
I'm on the 4 months plan right now. So, and that's for a test in October.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
could send you the 6-month plan, and you work, it has more work than the 4-month plan does. And you won't follow it on the day-by-day basis, but you could just work through it in the order given. It has more assignments with more timed sections, and you could do more questions of each type. So after this call, I'll send you that too, so you can take a look and see if that fits your needs better.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that'd be great. I think that's kind of where I kind of fall, because I'll study and then I'm like, I don't know, like I still have this time, and maybe I could be doing more to get there, because I'm really trying to work my way through it. The other thing too is kind of slightly off topic, but as far as the writing sample goes, so far my focus has been on the LSAT and kind of getting the score I want before I kind of move more through the application process, and obviously the writing sample as well. Is that the best method, or should I be on my off time also considering the writing sample, or when to take that? And also like applications and personal statements, is that something I should be working in throughout this time as well?
Yeah, since you're taking the LSAT in October and that's what you're aiming for, ideally you want to be able to submit your application once you get that score back. So you'll have 2 to 3 weeks after the LSAT test date to wait for your score. During that time, you can finalize your application, but I wouldn't save everything to the last minute. You have, at this point, speaking in end of June, you have all summer. So when you want to take a break from the LSAT, or if there's a day where you have a bit more time than otherwise, fit in some time for the LSAT there too, for the application there too. Take a break from LSAT content here and there. LSAT's most important, but it's never too early to start working on your personal statement and getting letters of rec together and all that. And then I would do the writing sample during those 2 to 3 weeks after you take the actual LSAT.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry too much about that because it's unscored. Schools look at it a bit more than previously because it's typed and they can read what people write, but it's still not nearly as important as the scored LSAT or even all the other parts of the application.
Okay, great. I think that might be about it. Just because I'm still kind of working early on with the day-to-day schedule. But if I have any other additional questions, I'll definitely email you as much as possible. As far as books, I have I've done like the Kaplan at LSAT prep program, so I have their booklets. I also have LSAT trainer, and then with Kaplan, they had given me access to a lot of the past prep tests, so I kind of like downloaded all the PDFs of those with the explanations, and I've been working with those as well. And then I also have the LSAC Plus, so just to take tests as well. Was there anything else you think that might work with this? I mean, I've read those, I've looked through those. I really think your day-to-day schedule works really well just because I have those prep tests already, so it's really easy to access those. Anything that you think that that should be incorporated? I already also have your fact sheets, which come in handle as well. So I'm really trying to collect as much as possible, but and I've gone through most of the material as well. So I feel like the basic understanding of the LSAT's there. I feel like more of my issue now is just working through it, so it becomes as comfortable with me as possible by test day. That's like not a problem. But any recommendations there?
No, it sounds like really you've got everything you need. As long as you have the exams and you've also got the study plan and the course, that's really more than enough. So just keep working through those, do those exams, review the questions that give you difficulty, and keep at it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. I don't want to pass your timing, but if I have any additional questions, I'll make sure to email you. And I really do appreciate the 6-month study plan too. That'll give me some more things to add in on there.
Yeah, of course. I'll send it over. So keep in touch, reach out if you need anything, and I'll see you in class.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.